The next morning, I get to the store at the same time as Brielle and her friends. Hey, twin, I say as I walk into the store. Hey, twin. We both start laughing. We stood there talking, waiting for our food, when more people from school started coming into the store. The same messy haired girl who started the twin shit with Brielle and me in the hallway walks into the store with her friends. The twins, she says loudly and brings attention to us again. I half smile, and Brielle just looks at her. What's your name again, twins? I'm Summer. She's Brielle. Oh, right. I can't tell y'all apart. She shakes her head. Brielle and I give a confused look. We definitely did not look like the same person. This is crazy, the girl continues and starts laughing. She walks toward her friends who are in the back of the store, and I hear her telling them, we are twins. I'm just gonna say it. I think she's an idiot, Brielle says. We both start laughing. Yeah, but even broken crayons color, I say, which makes us laugh harder. Damien walks into the store and looks Brielle and me up and down. Fake twins? Hello, Bright and Brightness? What's up, D? I say. Brielle laughs and waves. As Tony approaches the store, Brielle and her friends leave to go toward the school. Hey, fake twin, Tony says to Brielle. Brielle laughs and says hi as she walks by. Tony orders her food, and Jules gets to the store shortly after. Shania didn't come to school today. Jules is still trying to soften Tony up. You can tell she likes him, but she's still giving him attitude any chance she gets. We walk back to the school and go to class. When it was time for lunch, it started raining, so we all decided to stay inside instead of walking back to the store. The lunchroom was packed, but we still found a spot to sit. Who knows how to play spades? Jules questions. Who doesn't know how to play spades? I reply. Word, Tony says. Alright, so let's go. Damien says. Jules pulls out the cards. Me and D versus y'all, Jules says. Cool, I say. Jules shuffles, Tony cuts, and he deals the card. Just as the bell was about to ring, we were ending the game. Tony and I won. Nah. I want a rematch, Jules says. Tony and I start laughing. You want to get beat again? I ask, sounding confused in a sarcastic tone. Listen here, Brightness. That was luck, Damien says. Nah, that was an ass whooping, I say. Tony laughs harder. Yo, fuck the next period. Rematch, Jules says. You can miss your next period, Tony asks, looking at me. Yeah? Bet. We all exit the lunchroom and go to our spot in the hallway where we always stand waiting for the bell to ring. How are we going to get back in the lunchroom? I question. This is your first time cutting? Damien asks. Yeah. Aw, Brightness is a newborn, Jules says. I haven't cut school in high school, Tony says. Look at these babies, Damien says. Babies that just whooped your ass, I say. Even Jules and Damien had to laugh at that. Whatever, that was luck, Jules says. Tim runs the next period lunch. He'll let us in. He lets you go to lunch more than once if you don't cut too much, Damien says. Tommy won't really let you in more than one period without a schedule showing you belong in lunch, Jules says. Tony and I nod. The bell rings and we walk back toward the lunchroom. I was nervous because if they knew we didn't belong in lunch, what happens? We get to the lunchroom doors and I see Tim, the school safety officer, kind of squint his eyes like he's thinking of something. He doesn't say anything, but looks at us from the corner of his eye. We go back to the same table we were at from the previous lunch period, and I take the cards to shuffle. I shuffle and Jules cuts the deck. I deal the cards. Prepare to get your ass busted, Jules says. Winners don't have to talk shit. That's why we quiet, I reply. Tony picks up her cards and smiles. Chocolate chip, you not fooling anyone. My hand is dope, Damien says. I roll my eyes. We make our bids, and Damien throws down the first card. His ace of diamonds. Tony throws down the three of diamonds, and Jules throws down the four of diamonds. As I'm pulling my card out, I see Damien preparing to pick up the book. I put the three of spades down on the table, and he pulls his hand back. Yeah, relax, newborn, I say. We all start laughing. Okay, brightness. Okay, Damien says. I play the four hearts next. Damien plays a joker of hearts. Tony puts down the four of spades and smiles. Jules just nods his head and plays the five of hearts. We went back and forth. They put up a good try, but we won again. The bell rings ending this lunch period. Tomorrow, we playing again, Jules says. Yeah, not gonna let this fake ass salt and pepper talk about this shit forever, Damien says. We all start laughing. Crybaby ass niggas, I say. Word, you need a pacifier? Tony asks while laughing. Tomorrow, Jules says and pokes Tony in the ribs. She starts laughing even harder. This nigga really mad. I'll check my schedule for tomorrow, I say. Oh, you gonna have time, Damien says as we all walk out the lunchroom. Finally, the end of the day came, and I was ready to get home as fast as possible. As I was leaving the building, I saw Brielle. She was walking toward Main Street, so we decided to walk together. As we walk out of the building, Prince is leaving too. Wait, it's two of y'all? He asks. You see two people, right? Brielle questions in a sarcastic tone with a confused look on her face. Oh yeah, this is your sister. She's a smart ass too. I'm just saying, you asked if there was two of us, and you clearly see two people, Brielle says. I start to laugh a little. Yeah, but I meant if y'all were sisters. Yeah, she is my sister, Brielle says. Light-skinned girls be so difficult, Prince says, laughing. We get to the end of the walkway, and I see Ace waiting for Prince. He smiles and head nods at me. I smirk and keep walking with Brielle toward Main Street. I wonder how long this twin thing is gonna last, I say. Word, we don't even have the same last name. These people don't care about that. We definitely don't look identical. I have mad siblings. Anyway, you'd fit in. Me too. We start laughing. Y'all all different complexions too, she asks. Yeah, my father has me plus 7 others. My mother has me plus 3 more. Oh, all mine have the same mother and father. My father is half Irish, so some of us are light-skinned, some of us are brown-skinned like my mom, she says. We continue talking until we get to Main Street. She went to the train. She was from Southside, but not near where I hung out. I didn't even bother to ask if she knew Tavio or his crew. I went to the bus. I get home and my mother has some attitude going on. Who knows what's exactly wrong today? I say hi, go straight into my room, and close the door. I start doing my homework and there's a knock at my door. Yeah, I say. The door opens. It's Lauren. What's up, nerd? She smiles. What happened? Nothing. I came to see you. Surprised your mother let me in. She wouldn't do that. Oh, but tell me why the nigga Jason popped up at my school. For what? I ask in a confused tone. He said he heard I was talking to someone from my school. But you are. Yeah, but he didn't need to know that. Nigga took someone's program and caught me sitting on Larry's lap in the lunchroom. Who the fuck is Larry? I ask with a confused look on my face. Bitch, keep up. My school nigga is Larry. Does he go to the school or work at the school? How old is Larry? I question. She starts laughing. I know his name is old as shit, but he is fine as hell. She smiles in a dreamy sense like she's picturing his face. Whatever you say, I shake my head in a playful way and chuckle at her. So what else happened? He caught you slipping, I say. He sat at the table and says, "What's good, Lauren?" My eyes get wide. What did you say? I said, "Oh, hey, how are you?" And I shrugged. I didn't get off Larry's lap, though. I give another shocked expression. I don't even care. Jason be in Jamaica in all the bitches' faces. I don't know what he came to my school for. This could just be my thoughts. But if he came to the school, he's likely feeling you for real. I doubt it. These niggas be wanting control, and I'm good. You not gonna fuck with whoever and think I'm gonna cry. Not cry, but I guess, I say. You can't judge. You got one nigga and barely pay niggas any mind. I'm not judging, trying to understand, but okay, whatever all that meant. I roll my eyes. Anyway, I have to get back home. I just came to tell you that real quick. Wait, so what are you gonna do? I asked. About Jason? Nothing. I like Larry. She shrugs her shoulders in a nonchalant manner. I nod with a slight look of confusion. She talks to me for a few minutes longer, then goes home. My mother came into my room after I locked the door behind Lauren. Why do you hang out with that fast-ass girl? I told you I don't feed into other people's talk about her. People will think you're like her. People can think whatever they want. I know who I am. She rolls her eyes and walks away. The next day at lunch, Jules pulled out his cards and demanded a rematch when we got into the lunchroom. We gonna do this every day? I asked. Yup, Jules says. Tony and I start laughing. Shuffle, nigga, Tony says. Don't boss us around, chocolate chip, Damien says. Oh, shut up and take this ass whooping, Tony says. I start laughing. Don't laugh, brightness, Damien and Jules say almost in unison, which makes me laugh harder. Jules deals the cards and my hand is trash. I have almost no books. Hopefully, Tony has a good hand. Jules adjusts his cards and smiles. You have no poker face, I say. About to beat y'all ass, he laughs. Damien sits quietly adjusting his hand, and so does Tony. We went around the table and placed our bid. Tony and I went for a 5. I don't even know how we could make it. Jules and Damien bid an 8, and I know for certain they had all the good cards. We barely made the $5, but we did it. So we didn't back down without talking shit at the table. We went back and forth hand for hand, and it was a close game, but we lost this time. The bell rang for us to end our lunch period. Rematch, Damien asked. Not this period. I have a test, I say. Rayne is trying to make something of herself, Jules, Damien says. We all start laughing. Yes, nigga, I am. I could come back for 6th if y'all can. Yeah, I have a test next, but not 6th either, Tony says. Alright, meet back in our spot at 6, Damien says. We all start to walk out of the lunchroom to go toward our next class. I knock out my test in 5th period, and when the bell rings, head back to our normal meetup spot. We were walking back into the lunchroom, and Jules and Damien go first. Tony and I stood behind in the mix with the other students trying to get in. Summer, Tony, don't start that cutting shit, Tim, the school safety officer, says. Neither of us reply. We just keep walking. He's the least hostile of all the school safety officers. The rest try to scare us, but I think it's more for the boys in the school. I'm always respectful, so they leave me alone with the hostile shit. We walk over to our table from our own lunch period, and Jules slides me the cards. Shuffle, brightness. I take the cards from him and start shuffling. Jules cuts, I deal, and we start the game. Tony and I won this game. 3-1, I say. Shut up, brightness. I hope you fail math, Damien says. I start laughing so hard. Hostile. Everyone starts laughing. Every day after this, we started to cut one class a day to play spades, aside from our assigned lunch period. The school really didn't stop anyone from cutting class or try to stop anyone from cutting class, except Tommy. He wouldn't let us in all the time, depending on his mood. Tim, school safety, would try to talk to the students more about the importance of going to class. Anyway, the games were always tight. We won a lot, but we lost games just the same, so the competition between the four of us remained high, which is what caused us to keep cutting, trying to beat each other. Eventually, we just started to cut Miss Rios' class before lunch instead of cutting our classes after lunch. Her class seemed to be the least important on Tony and I's schedule. Jules and Damien cut any class at any time. Shania didn't always come to school, but when she did, she still cut some classes. Coya and Sierra almost never came to school. If they did, they left after lunch. Gigi cuts classes too, but she wasn't always with Tony and I. Brielle and some of her friends would be in the lunchroom more than one period in a row. We started to speak more often, being twins and all, but she mostly stuck to her own friends. I was the one out of all of us who knew a lot of other people from other crews. I was the social butterfly. I didn't see Mike and his friends as much anymore. We hung out with different people. They cut classes rarely, but they didn't stay in school when they cut. Miguel, I almost never saw. The school was that big. Sometimes in passing I would see him, and I would always say hi or just stop to talk to him. I never lost love for him, just things happen. Sometimes people grow apart as friends. He would ask why I hung out with Jules and Damien, but they were my friends just like he was my friend. They would ask me sometimes why I spoke to Miguel, but never pressed the issue much. I found out from Miguel that their beef is more regular hood neighborhood beef. Miguel didn't go into much detail, just stated they didn't like each other from elementary school, and it started from there. They all got older and nothing changed. To make matters worse, Miguel was a part of a gang, but not Bloods or Crips. He was running with the Zulu Nation, and they weren't popular. Well, to me anyway. Jules, Damien, and Shania ran with the Bloods. Tony and I were neutral, but no one really cared if we were or weren't.